your money, 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 money. Them no go fear to play you, honey, 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 honey. Make I treat you like my honey, 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 honey. Cause you're special to me. Yes, you're special to me. Baby boo, we can be like one and two. It's just me and you. Having dinner for two. Oh, hey, baby boo, we can be like one and two. We got to be starting something. We got to be starting something. Hey. All the girls where they want you, them no fit want you like I do. All the girls where they need you, them no fit need you like I do. I don't go do like a macaw. We go disappoint you, baby. This my love is true. No, no, oh hey, could they love, could they love you, baby? I could they love, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? I could they love, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? I could they love, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? Oh, hey. Now you they make my heart so they jolly, 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 jolly. I wanna cook and feed your tummy, 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 tummy. If I dare your side door, you can never be lonely. Cause you're special to me. Baby, you're special to me. Baby boo, we can be like one and two. It's just me and you. Having dinner for two. Oh hey, baby boo, we can be like one and two. We got to be starting something. We got to be starting something. Hey, all the girls where they want you, them no fit want you like I do. All the girls where they need you, them no fit need you like I do. I don't go do like a macaw. We go disappoint you, baby. This my love is true. No, no, oh hey, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? I could they love, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? I could they love, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? I could they love, could they love, could they love, could they love you, baby? Oh, hey.
We really appreciate your time on this broadcast this hour. Welcome to another segment of this great Real Talk, and welcome to the Africa Pulsar Radio. His Excellency, we really appreciate you. Thank you for the pleasure of your time. We thank you for being here, and we want to sincerely appreciate everyone connecting with us. We just have to make sure that everything is 100% okay for us to give you nothing but the best. But we are live on direct on the African Pulsar Radio with His Excellency HR King, Professor, Ambassador, Engineer OHA Promise is live on direct with us in the studio that we are going to be having this conversation together. So let me just go straight to you. Let's go straight to the business of the day. I just want you to greet everyone in everywhere, all over the country, in the world, and also in Africa, sir.
Yeah, thank you. It is a pleasure to be with us again on this very special episode of the Ancestral Revelation under the African Pulsar Radio and TV International, South Africa. I am His Royal Excellency, your royal guest, King Professor Ambassador Engineer Nyeche Promise Obina. Eze Ikemba 1, Onyishialolakwo Agwishi, Ancient Kingdom Eche Ethnicity River State, South Nigeria, the West African coastal area of the continent of Africa. I am the Supreme Commander of African Ancestral Kings and Royalty. As your key revolutionist on this emancipation mission to bring Africa to limelight once more by telling our stories by ourselves. Once more, I welcome all listeners, all viewers across the globe to this very eye-opening episode of the African Ancestry. Thank you, and thank you for believing in us. Thank you for believing in Africa. Thank you for continuously identifying with your root, your culture, your tradition, your originality, your true identity as a person. And I will say, by the virtue of my ancestral position, I present us with kola nut. And I pray, as it is often said, that kola nut does not hear English. So also wetroji wetrando oji oji jindo. Oji a ga-ewetara anyị ọ ga-ewetara anyị ogologo ndụ ahụ isi ike. Achọ ọtụ nwa ọkụkọ nwa dawa ọkụ nwe mbọmbọsị. Onye achụ onye adịghị mere ya, ọ ga-eji shi achụ aja. Achọ eje ayọ bụ isi ije. Ọ na-achịba ụlọ anyị ga-eje n'afọ n'ọnwa Jenụwarị a na wiki ka anyị nọ na ya ijecha anyị alọ na ndụ. Onye chi n'ije anyị alọla nyelu onye alọkwuru ya. Ọ amamihe bụ oke ọhịa na-epecha epecha na nwata bịara bụ na ọ marụrụ. Mana achị ngwanụ emere gịnị bụ ogu? Onye achọ n'ụwa bụ ọmụmụ nwoke ọmụmụ nwanyị, ndụ mmiri ndụ azụ, ndụ ọgaranya ndụ nwangwe, akụ ọgaranya akụ nwangwe, egbe ebere ugo bere ka eshi ibe ebere kwukwa ya. Achọ bụ kirikiri ka a na-agba ukwu ose narị elu. Eji ezu ezu atọ ngụ udele. Omenala Afrịka dị ka ndụ udele. Ngụ udele ọ dịsị ọwụ onye ọbụla ji ata anụ udele. Ọ bụ ndị tụrụ ụlọ nnu ikwu ụka ji ata anụ udele. Ihe gbasara Afrịka ọ bụ ụka riri nne. Anọkwanụ ndị matara he nọ na he nye ekwuni bụ ndị ga-ekwulu ụka ya. Maka asha amamihe bụ oke ọhịa na-epecha epecha na nwata peruru bụ na ọ mara. Anyị jelelọ hụkwa ihe n'ọba enwe ihe n'ọba na-achọpụta shi kenyi jika asha akụka ma na nneji kenyi jika akaweji ya na-ekwukwa na-emepe ndị Afrịka anya na-achị onye ahala nwanne ya, onye ahala omenala ya, onye ahala he meji mara gị dịka onye Afrịka. Ma na-achị ngwanụ Chineke gọzie onye ihu gọzie onye azụ ka anyị achụ n'ala Afrịka ka anyị tụta ya na ndụ ka ọ ghara ịbụ n'ọnwụ. Ma na-achị ngwanụ ala dododo amado ha lekwa ọjị tara ala njọkọ tọrọ ọjị agbara mmiri tọrọ ọjị. Ngwanụ ọdụm ezumezu agbara onye eze ụlọkwa ọjị tara. Agwa dị onye na-akwa nụnụ ọ na-asị na ọ tọrọ ọjị. Nna m ochie, nna m John Onyeche, nna m Chale aka dịbịa ọhịa ji ụlọkwọ mbamishi ọta mmiri ochie mmiri Imo ụlọkwa ọjị tara. Onye chi ndụnye ji adị ya mana were ka ya were gbachie. Echikwana ya gajere ya gajere onye m. Onye chi ya gajere enyi ya wuri isi ya bụrụ ihe ma ọchọ achịchi kote ebu ya gba ya aja aja. Mana si Chineke kere igwe Chineke kere ụwa. Agị bụ chi okike, agị bụ onye nyima. Ha ọbụla ndị wee ka bịara disive onye akọnye ama ya na-akwara gị ugwu kọsa gị ji ndụ ji mbaji eji awa ndụ. Ya gajere onye gajere onye azụ ma gụọ n'aha chi okike na aha ala anyị gbabara ụkwụ ise.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. We really appreciate your time on this broadcast this hour, and I want to let Africa in diaspora know that we are live and direct right now. I'm inviting everyone to please connect with this broadcast and be part of this great time. We already let you know that every Saturday His Excellency, upon all the busy schedule and upon all the things that needs to be attended to in the kingdom, His Excellency have dedicated this hour for us to be having this conversation, to shape our future, to prepare our generation ready for the task ahead, and also to bring back some of the lessons of the past and to correct error of the or the current error, and to focus our mind towards the growth of Africa. This is what this program is all about. Solution to the current problem, the way forward on some problem, and to correct some errors, the mistakes that we are making now in this current generation, so that that will not become a cause for the incoming generation. As blessed as Africa, we are still struggling with our economy. As a matter of fact, the blessings of Africa is not going to the African hand, and the resources of Africa is being marginalized and it's been taken away from Africa to other parts of the world. The resources of Africa have built many continents of the world, like America, North America, South America. If you go to Salvador today, you will see the large number of Africa in poverty in Salvador, in Brazil. What exactly is the problem? Is there any cause upon the black that is making us behind? Is there any cause upon the black that is not making things working for us? In this program, there is a book coming from me called The Spirit Called Black. The Spirit Called Black is a book that I'm working on, telling the story of who we are as black, and why is it that in any civilized community, or in any civilized country, or in any civilized space, when the black gets in there, the standard of that particular place starts coming down. For instance, let's look at the city of Johannesburg. When I look at Johannesburg in 30, 40 years ago, a beautiful city, lovely city, a great city, but look at Johannesburg as today. If you see the city of Johannesburg, the beauty is gone. The civilization is gone. You will see the tall building, the high-rise building. You will see the people hanging cloth, pints on the windows. And you'll be asking yourself, the same thing in Victoria. I have some of the picture of what I'm talking about. What exactly is the problem? What happened to us as black? Why is it that anywhere we get to, if the system is working there before, immediately we arrive there, the system will no longer working? These are the conversation we'll be having on this program this hour. And I want to plead to everyone watching, listening, to please share this program. His Excellency will be dealing with some of the problem, and His Excellency will be advising us. He's a monarch. He's one of the great monarchs of our continent that believe in growth of this continent. So give me privilege and welcome the great His Excellency H.R. King, Professor, Ambassador, Engineer Oyeshe, promise onto this broadcast this hour. His Excellency, you like what I said earlier on, Africa, we are still struggling with our resources. We are still struggling with our blessings. Our blessings is not being channeled to us. Sir, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, it's another great opportunity for us to review some of the insightful secrets that has made Africa to look, backward, to look contagious, to look non-progressive. Which I'm going to borrow my strength of analysis from the Berlin Conference of 1888. That conference reviewed a lot of things. African, dating back to 16th centuries to 17th centuries, was a very great continent. Civilization started in Africa. Technology and science started in Africa. It is often said that when you take away the history of a people, you destroy their originality. A man was in his house and he was invaded by armed robbers. They seized his freedom. They kidnapped and raped his daughters in his presence, took his wife into slavery, his sons all taken away from him. And it didn't end there. They took away his yam bands, his livestock, and everything that he also there. The man went into depression. At a point, committed suicide. Some of these men were shot dead when they tried to challenge the colonial invasion of the colonial masters and their soldiers. We lost a lot of great men. We lost a lot of leaders. We lost a lot of great farmers. Because when they come to your yam ban, they take away everything. So the ancestral generation that progenited this generation suffered psychological inferiority complex. Because what made them men were taken away from them. All men were forced to a second opinion against their wish, against their belief, against their religion, and against their tradition. Whatever the queen says stands and nobody challenges it. Africa was invaded. The conference of 1884 was to champion a more salivative approach in striking a balance so that the powers that be within the colonial masters will not be having conflict of interest. Who was the focal point of this robbery? Africa. And who were those who faced this marginalization, this impediment, this psychological drain? Our ancestors. Everything they hold there was taken away. We were not colonized. We were not colonized. I wouldn't say it's colony. We were kidnapped. We were not. Colonization is all about bringing newness to your life in every aspect of it. Were we colonized? Africa was never colonized. Africa was raped. Africa was robbed. Africa was dehumanized. We were not colonized. We were not. So if I see the theories of colonial reportages across media bodies, I just look at it and I laugh. Based on my sojourn across other continents, Africa was not colonized. Up to today, we were not colonized. It's like a group of thugs capturing some beautiful maidens, and after raping them, they will hand them over to the younger thugs to conduct the raping. Africa has never been truly colonized. And let me say this without missing words. The colonial masters stole from us, deceived us, took away our religion and tradition, and brought their own to us, and forced us to believe. The power of association is based on your will. If you wish to join any religious body, it is on your personal decision. As a human, you are entitled to your right of opinion, of worship. But we were forced. Africans were forced to believe in Islam and Christianity. It was forced. We are not given a second chance. When you are caught worshiping your gods, you will be shot dead. There was no freedom of worship. There was no freedom of speech. So how come you say we are colonized? Africa was never colonized, and we have not been colonized. We were raped, we are kidnapped, we are put into captivity, and we are taken away.
the leftover here, they took almost the best brains to go and develop Europe and America and other continents. The best brains were taken away from Africa. They left the crumbs. And the crumbs, we are left to suffer in abject poverty, rejection, and dejection. High level of depression. And what you are seeing today is the product of that action. People are hostile. Africans are hostile because there was no love. They were not shown love. The Africans have never been shown love. Even to tomorrow, there's high level of racism everywhere. When an African child does well, that for you to appreciate him, you remind him that he's a black monkey. So come to think of it, where is equality for human race as preached by United Nations? Where is equality? Have there been a clear roadmap to apologize to Africans that what the colonials did to us was barbaric? Has there been? Has there been any official apology by the British government, by the French government, by the Portuguese, by the German Empire to apologize to Africa officially? There has not been any. Have they been able to retrospect any of their action? Have they? Now we have moved from the slavery we used to know to modern day slavery. You open your window for Africans to come in. What kind of job are you giving to them? Menial jobs. To work in mortuary, to work in restaurants, to be your mates. And when they begin to excel, you start to envy them. High taxation. Policies upon policies upon policies upon policies that you make sure that the little money they make there, they spend it back to your country. So where is the equality we talk about? Where is the freedom we talk about? There is no freedom yet for Africa. The colonials left, they left the religious bodies here to come to rape us. Every Sunday is compulsory, you pay tithe, you pay offerings. The little you make, you keep paying back to religious bodies they left there. Enslaving people, giving so much, the taxing people out of their little earning, and you are cursing them that if they don't bring, God will not bless them. Mental slavery. Robbery of the highest order. How long will Africans stand up and realize that enough should be enough? It is quite disheartening. It is quite unacceptable anymore. Our people should open their eyes. It is often said that a man inside the river does not fear cold anymore. We don't need to fear cold in Africa because we have already been mesmerized. Now, some countries in Africa, let me also tell you, before you elect a president, the so-called colonies must have an influence on the election because they want somebody that will still be loyal to them. So where is the freedom? By next year, Nigeria is going into election, presidential election on 28th of February. And we are seeing the dynamics of global and international politics ongoing. The same thing happened in South Africa. The same thing happened in Egypt. Gaddafi was killed, murdered, because he was thinking African economy. He was thinking African unity. He was thinking an echelon of excellence for Africa. What did they do? They set him up, they tagged him evil, and they killed him. Now Africans, we are supporting them and jubilating. Now they have seen it. That Gaddafi was killed for his sincerity, for his forthrightness, for his belief and trust in his fatherland. A lot of leaders has gone through this trend. But under the Supreme Council of African Ancestral Kings and Royalty, we will make sure we continue to review, expose all the ills. I will not blame any African child. I will only advise them. 2 wrongs cannot make a right. That is the advice. I will not blame them. Because a child that sits back and see what happens to his father, you want to avenge his maltreatment. Have you read through the history of the slavery? How our people were packed like logs of wood across the rivers, across the oceans. They were injected with substances that kept them in an oblivion for months, running to years. So when our young lads go through this knowledge, they'll feel vengeance. So we cannot to appeal as a royal pair of peace and a global ambassador of the world for us not to go or to toe that step of avenging the dastard acts that were meted on our people. Because it is often said that peace is priceless and terror is senseless. Let's show them that we are the origin of civilization, which is happening. I thank God and our ancestors. Anywhere Africans go, they are excelling. In the music industry, we are doing good. In the movie industry, we are doing good. In science and technology, we are doing good. In industrialization, we are doing excellently well across the world. In discoveries, Africans are doing great. We are sustaining economies of so-called great nations. Africans are sustaining the economies of so-called great nations. The gold mines, the mineral resource reserves of all these great nations are traced down to Africa. Read the history and see what happened, what Great Britain did to Nigeria. Read the history. When gold was discovered in Nigeria, read the history and see how they took it. They took it, and we are using their jets to come and pack it, to go and store. Africa was raped and robbed. Let us be sized, blunt with the truth. So nobody should come and tell me that Africa is a third world, Africans are misbehaving. Why wouldn't they misbehave? When you sliced knife through the throat of their ancestors, any little slight provocation, you shoot at people as if they are animals. Why wouldn't they misbehave? All we are asking and praying is for all Africans, anywhere you find yourself, to be an ambassador of peace. There's no condemnation, but we advise it. Because what goes around comes around. So that thing you wished Africa, that is what God is going to wish you. If you want Africa to grow, Africa will grow, and your own nation will grow. But if you want Africa to remain underdeveloped, and you think you will usurp our ignorance, you usurp our you call it foolishness, nature, you also usurp your own wisdom. Because any man that thinks he's wise, to God, the Creator, he is foolish. Thank you for having me on this program.
I really appreciate that, His Excellency. I like the passion and I like the reality that is being exposed on this program. And one of the idea behind this program is to call the spade and to bring the reality out. And I want to sincerely apologize to those of you that you are watching us on other parts of Africa, especially in Southern Africa. If you are not connecting or you are not getting in, please just do that now. Do that now, because we are live and direct and the program is gaining momentum right now. Please join us right now, right here. Let me quickly use this time to greet everyone, no matter where you are, no matter the country you reside. I greet you according to your time zone and I greet you according to your language. In South Africa, Dumela, Ashe, Moloi. In northern part of Africa, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In Jerusalem, shalom to everyone. And in every country, I greet you. In northern part of Nigeria, Kedu, I greet you in eastern part of Nigeria, Kedu. And in northern part of Nigeria, in Nakwana. Nile Yoruba mo ki yin mo na yin lọ́gọ̀ ẹnu ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí àtàgbé ètò yìí, ẹ má bá share ètò yìí. We are going to be promoting African language in this program, and if you are speaking English, we are just using it because it's a medium of communication. There is nothing special about speaking English. There is nothing special. Make sure you speak your own language to your child to secure the future. If you continue speaking English to your child, you will regret it tomorrow. And that is one of the things we want to bring out of this program. His Excellency, I like what you just bring up in the conversation. But there is I don't know, maybe we should call it sentiment or it's a reality that Africa are the one themselves selling their own children, brothers, sons into slavery. That people never forced into slavery, that it was a business. Can you please shed light on that, sir?
Yeah, I've read a lot of comments on a lot of platforms as regarding that. That is pure lie. The conspiracy theory came up. Let me tell you. In Africa is a
We are with you, sir. Thanks to everyone joining us. I really appreciate it. We are still live and direct. His Excellency is attending to that question. If you have a say or you want to contribute to this conversation, kindly call us on +27703-3584 is the number to call. Call that number. You can continue, sir.
Yes. So let me be very blunt with us. We have rules. We have ancestral laws. We have natural principles that guided Africa as a continent. The colonies came on board. When they come to a place, they hijack the system. And all you hear is that the queen says, and that is final. Nobody cared about what is this true culture, what is their tradition, what are their beliefs. Nobody cared about that. All they care is that the queen says. Or the authorities that be says. Nobody cared about Africa. Now, they came, hijacked African leadership, they hijacked African culture, they hijacked African tradition. Now the kings that opposed them were killed. What they now did, they looked at the feeble minds and induced them, raised anti-kingdoms to fight the real kingdoms. Now they deceived those feeble minds and induced them with gifts, promised them heaven and earth, and began the slave business. Instances of people selling their children and all that, we are on very skeletal or rare occurrences due to hunger. You will farm for a year. They will go and harvest your farmland. Where are you going to find food to eat? They bar people from fetching from the rivers. If you don't accept to their biddings, you will not fetch from the river. Are you with me?
I'm with you, sir.
Perfect. So they took away our life. They took away our means of living. They took away everything. They took away our belief. They took away our trust. Everything was taken away. At that point, people had no opinion anymore. They have no choice. The situation was, let me not die and all my family perish. Let us just play along with them. That was the situation. That was the situation. You come to a man's house, you take away his livestock, you take away his family. What do you want that man to do? So no African voluntarily gave into slavery. They were forced, they were induced, they were stabbed into slavery. So that theory is quite false, is fallacy, is a blackmail on the African continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing the light and for making us see the reality on that. So we have some issues in Africa, and I realize that, and I believe that this is surrounded by the too much of the poverty in Africa, or let's put it in this way, that there's the resources of Africa is not being shared. When we have a graduate in Africa, we have university in Africa. The first university in the world is here in Africa. But when there is anything that needs to be done in this civilized world in Africa, we realize that they will call the expatriates from Japan, from America, to come to Africa to come and do some special project in Africa, like railway in Africa, electricity supply in Africa. Many, many things have been taken away from Africa. Upon that, we have graduates from our university. All these things is being given to the expatriates in other continents of the world. What is causing this, and how can we get out of this?
It's all about leadership. I told us clearly from the onset that, please, can you check the video connection, please? Are you with me?
I'm with you, sir. Very well.
Check the video connection.
The video connection is 100%, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we are fine,
now,
sir.
Perfect.
I can zoom you out if you want me to zoom you out, but I think everything looks perfect here. Let me zoom you out.
It's okay. Now, the issue is this. We have one of the best brains in the world from Africa. The colonies, they left with some of our best brains then. But there's an adage in Africa that says that where water percolates, it will keep percolating there. The streams of excellence, wisdom, and knowledge is predominant in Africa. So if you like, take away generation, the coming generation will still produce great men. They believe that Harvard, Oxford, and all that are the best universities in the world. So if you don't school there, you didn't went to the best. So, and for the fact that the leadership of most nations in Africa has alliances with their colonials, what do? When they want to do high-profile projects, they import these artisans and professionals. In so doing, they are paying a quota to the government as a means of compensation. Let me tell you the truth. Some of these great nations, they don't have resources. As natural resources, they have human resources. And to every expatriate they bring into this country, the country pays them. So in order to compensate them for their hooks and crooks, our people keep falling victim of project awards. Secondly, they make our universities not to work. They deliberately frustrate academic activities in the country. Strike this and that. It takes nothing to resolve all the lingering issues of strike. But deliberately, they wouldn't want, because it will not favor the international trade. Look at the value of dollar, pounds to the currencies of Africa. And you think it's normal? Think back to when, during the colonial era, I saw a flight, this thing of one of our great men in Nigeria. How much? 87 kobo. 87 kobo. To fly to England. 87 kobo. Now today, it's over 1.something million. Why? So you see that there are a lot of hidden secrets in the international trade. They continue to starve the prospects of African continent in order for theirs to gain ground. These things are international dynamics to make us to look poor, to always be on the begging side. But it's unfortunate that some of our so-called leaders who are supposed to stand and defend the African continent are playing cap and hand with them. You go into government, you want to enrich yourself, you pack all the money here, you take to Europe, you go and keep. You are in the capital market, you are increasing their wealth. You are increasing their economic deposit. In their forex, they have more than enough reserve. Now we come to Africa. Where are the reserves? Our crude oil reserve was stolen within a split second. The crude oil reserve was taken away. Where was the billions and trillions taken to? Europe. Go to other African countries. The leaders go there, buy houses, open foreign accounts, and pack all the treasury of the nation and keep there. Tomorrow you go and start getting loan from the same people. Your money is being stocked. You go there, you get loan. And they will keep giving you because they have your money in their distance. When they look for it, they don't see, they will see the ones you brought. And when they see that you are no longer playing hanky-panky, they will label you a criminal and expose you and confiscate your wealth. Add it to their national treasury. Who is being fooled? You. There's an adage that says that when a sheep defecates on his tails, you'll be playing that I am doing my honor. But when the tail starts to rotten and smell, it smells on the sheep and not the owner. Africans should know that castigating and working against the African continent and the progress of Africans, we only resort to shame and destruction. It is time our people cross the line and stand by justice, truth, and fairness. He said, you must speak the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Whatever you do in life and you don't say the truth, you are endangering your life, your future, your destiny, and that of your family, not just you alone. So, it is a psychological mirage, a calculated attempt international economic sabotage to cage us, pin us down, in order for us not to fly. Because we want to have in Africa, we can challenge any continent, resource-wise. If it is properly harnessed, if it is properly managed, and if it is properly reinvested. There's a difference between harnessing resources and reinvesting resources. You can explore and harness billions, but if you don't reinvest them prudently, in the next couple of years, you go into bankruptcy. That is what almost happened to America before Obama took over. As a great economic technocrat, he revamped the economy of the United States. He reinvested in very profitable sectors of the economy. And America began to bounce back again. And where is Obama from? Obama is from Kenya, Africa. So that's to tell you that you cannot beat us. When it comes to leadership, you cannot beat Africa. When it comes to entertainment, you cannot beat us. When it comes to sports, you cannot beat us. The best strikers in the world, Africa. Forget the politics. The best track and field in the world, Africa. Because when you go to Jamaica, 70% of the Jamaicans are Africans by ancestry. And that is truth. So when it comes to track and field, Africa. So we are blessed. We are resourcefully empowered by nature. And we are generational leaders. And nobody can tell me otherwise. So it is right time Africa start believing in themselves, start trusting themselves, and start returning back to their roots in order to regain their ancestral strength, wisdom, knowledge, and powers. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Last week when we are having conversation, we talk about the ancestral kings and the elected kings. And this has been becoming a very serious issue, especially in Yoruba land. Let me use Yoruba land as a case study of which I know a bit of. And also in some part of Nigeria, in Africa, is happening. I'm just using Nigeria as a case study. But let's look at the role of the ancestral kings. Now, what's the ancestral king, the original one? What do they need to do to correct or to bring the right thing back? That is for the monarch, the king, to have his authority upon his people, upon his community.
It's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. It's just that most of the ancestral kings are just trying to let things be. We have ancestral commands in Africa. And by African tradition, there are traditional practices that when they are done, if you are not the right person to sit on a throne, if you dare sit there, you will die. So by the time such powers have been invoked, and the government elects somebody to be a king, and you go there and sit down and die. You elect another man, you go and sit down and die. You elect another, you go and sit down and die. By the time 4 to 5 people die on that stool, you have a rethink. And when you call somebody to sit there, he will run away. There are kingdoms in the east where kings were forced on the people and they never lived up to 1 year. The more you force the king on them, the more the people you force die. Until the people that are ancestrally entitled ascend the throne. And what do? When they see the families who are ancestrally entitled, they will use cash and induce them. Set confusion in the family. They will be struggling, they will be infighting, and they will go ahead and do their bidding. They will say the family is not in unity. The kingship lineage is not in unity. So therefore, let us appoint. Politics is never a traditional thing. The more and the earlier we realize that politics has never been a friend to tradition, the better for Africa. It was the same politics that the British colonial invaders came and balkanized and sagaciously invaded our land. The same politics is what is being used today to rubbish the true kings. The so-called kings you have today cannot speak. When you speak, they will say you are challenging the authority that made you a king. They will dethrone you. How can a government dethrone a king? Government is not dethroning kings in Africa. It's a taboo. Kings are spirit beings, and they represent God and the ancestors. They are not humans. They are superhumans. Kings are seers. They are healers. They are ancestral beings that have human heart spirits. Before you ascend the throne, you will be converted from being a normal human being to a spirit being. You talk with spirits. You commune with spirits. You must talk with ancestors as a king. You must know their feelings. You must carry them along in your ruling. You don't pick a man that doesn't know his true root. You can't pick a bastard from somewhere and come and make him a king who doesn't even know who the ancestors are. That is why so many thrones have lost their flair. That's why people are going to Chago. If you don't know the powers behind your throne, you cannot activate them. I am Ezekemba 1. I am Odumezumezu. Akadofo Asato. I know who I am. I am from Umakadibi Ohiaji. In Umakolakwa Grishi. Abumoni Shiala, the commander of all the deities in my place. If you challenge it, you will see. That is how kingship should be. My authority is not from human. My authority is from my ancestors. And each time I call them, they answer me. If you bring war, I send them, they war you. If you bring peace, I send them, they'll give you peace. That is life. He said, whatever measure you give to your brother, so shall God give to you. So if you bring peace, you see peace. You bring war, you see war, because the gods are there to fight my battle, and not human beings, and not the forces. Ikukanara manonya. Owe ke won hia won gurugu ya. Asa na egbu achara achara na eru. Imara nka imanka. Utani makwa ebe ọ na-eje apịa. Ọ wụrụ ebe onye ọbụla ka a na-apịa ụtalị. So let us be human. Let us respect our tradition. Let us stop playing politics with tradition. Let us allow the reverend ancestral priest to sit on the ancestral stools and invoke the powers of the God to protect the land and their inhabitants. To every land, there is a secret. And that secret is the secret of wealth, longevity, and success. And when the kings don't not to pray to God and the gods to release such blessings and protections, people are dying anyhow. A lot of things are happening. There's no ancestral protection anymore. Churches are multiplying. Worship centers are multiplying. Evil is multiplying. Why? That is the question. In every street now, there is a church. 70 to 80% of Africans go to church every Sunday. But evil is multiplying. That means the methodology, the pattern, and the belief we share isn't working. It's not working. You can't bring a foreign system to work in a foreign land. It doesn't work. When you go to Yoruba land and begin to speak language of Kenyans, we don't understand you. It's a question. If you go to Yoruba land and begin to speak Kenya, will they hear you?
They can't.
They can't hear you. They can't communicate. And you, as a Yoruba man, go to South Africa and begin to speak Yoruba language. Will they hear you?
No.
Human beings will not hear you. Talk more of the gods. Human beings will hear you. Talk more of the gods. So what are we talking about? You bring a foreign thing here and you force it on us and you think it will work. We are just joking. The earlier we realize that religion has done more harm to us as a continent, the better for us. Who are the people that brought the religion? The same colonial masters. Having the Quran and the Bible on their right hand and having evil on their left hand. And you want me not to talk? I will keep talking. I will keep saying the naked truth. Whether you like it or not, our people must realize that they have been used, they have been deceived, they have been betrayed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. We are exactly 56 minutes, 54 seconds on this program, and everyone joining us, I want to appreciate you. Please keep sharing it by commenting to this program. That you make you a co-host of this program. So one of the trick or one of the tactics they are using to bring Africans down is divide them to rule them. And the history let us understand that we have many empires in Africa. One of the successful empire is Oyo Empire. Oyo Empire have been in existence and they have been governing themselves. They are having their own kingship and everything is going well with them before the arrival of the colonial masters. So, is it possible for us to go back to such kingdoms? Is it possible for us to go back to all those time, all those empire in Africa, for us to be able to reinstall our dignity back?
Yeah, the possibility is not there. I love being very factual. Why the possibility is not there is that a lot has gone under the bridge. All we need to do now is to recognize the African empires, the African true stools, the ancient stools of Africa that were robbed, raped, and balkanized. When you take what belongs to a child and you hold it for long, and the child is looking at you, and you don't return it, and that child grows up to an age that he can speak for himself, the child will come seeking what belongs to him. A time will come in Africa that Africans will stand and say, leave our land with your foreign god, with your style of leadership, leave our land. So the earlier, the better for international communities, for influencers of leadership in Africa to give recognition, proper, not political recognition, ancestral recognition to the true kings and kingdoms in Africa. Allow them practice their religion, African religion. Allow them practice their culture and tradition uninterrupted. Reinvigorate the passion in them to believe in themselves without interferences. Let the powers of ancestry be reinvented in a centurion way, that the gods can have alliance again with their people, that we can reconnect back to our ancestries and begin to have a spiritual mirage of love, passion, and understanding with our land and ancestry. If it is not done, the time bomb will explode and the center will no longer hold. So the earlier, the better. The ancestral kings must be given true recognition, must be allowed to govern over their people without interferences, and must be allowed to invoke the powers that guide and protect their people. You go to church, you castigate African tradition. The same African tradition allowed you to come in. I married my wife as a queen, and you come and tell me that I will not answer the name of my father, I will answer the name of your own father. Dare, is that possible? Your wife wants you to bear her family name. Is that possible? That is what is happening in Africa. Those that came to us as wives now wants to marry us as husband. That we should leave everything concerning us and do their own bidding. It is a taboo. It is unacceptable. It is man inhumanity to man. And the earlier they realize it, the better for them. Because if they don't, the gods will strike. And I bet you, that crisis, they wish Africa, it will get to them.
I like what you say, but let's quickly look at this issue. Democracy, homosexualism, which is one of the things that they are using as a tools to destroy this land. Many of the youth of today, especially there's one of the story that I read that they pump a lot of money into homosexualism to attract a lot of people into it in Africa. We don't have so much money to pump on this program to bring this to a level whereby everybody can hear it. But according to what I hear and the information I got, that some people are putting a lot of money into homosexuality for it to stay in Africa. How can we solve this? How can we liberate the mind of African youth from this?
Let me give you an instance. There was a time, I know some people will not like what I'm about to say, but I have to say it because I don't care. My business is to say the truth. When occultism came to Africa, through the so-called, they brought occultism in Africa. Now what they were doing, they'll convince you to join occult. They'll give you money. They'll give you protection. That was all. So some people who poverty was having a feed day in their family, they will say, it's better I die rich than to die poor. So they went into occultism. They give them money. They give them the fake protection. Fake protection. Very fake protection. They give them money, they give them fake protection. Now, it is a taboo, a condemnable act in Africa for a man to sleep with his fellow man. Now, what happened? They know that Africans do not accept homosexualism. They now put a price to it. in order to still use that same pattern they use in occultism to lure Africans into homosexuality. So, if you look at it, you see that the intentions has always been evil, 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 and evil. It is left for Africans. It is often said that once beaten, twice shy. Let us take a leap from where we are and self-examine ourselves, reconscientize ourselves, tell ourselves the truth, and begin to rebuild a healthy mindset based on our traditional values. When you tell a child that when you engage in homosexuality, that the gods of your land will kill you, that child will run away. And when he dares it, he will see he will die. We have the powers to activate to do that. It happens. When you commit a taboo in a land and you don't appease it, you will die. You will die. The person will die. There are powers in Africa. You dare go and sleep with your sister, you will die. You take advantage with a young maiden, you will die. So the colonies saw that these things will not favor them. They decided to abolish those practices because they were very, very frictious with women. You gather 20 women, one man inside one room. You naked them, you begin to sleep with them one after the other. Against their wish, against their will, against their emotions, against their desire.
Against their feelings.
Against their feelings. If it is in Africa, you dare it, you die. So when they saw that some of them died though, some were consumed, some were killed by the gods. So they decided to fight that system that opposed evil. African system opposes evil. Forget that we have some bad eggs here and there who have used occultism in pretense of African. That occultism is not African tradition. In African tradition, there is no occultism. Nothing like that. Our tradition is purely ancestral. And it's very simple. It's not a hidden thing. If you're a king and you go and borrow a foreign power as an occultic to support, maybe you're looking for power to stay long on the throne, or this, you go and join occultism, you have limited your lifetime because you're no longer working with nature. You are working against nature. And when the time is up, nobody can save you. The powers of kingship are purely ancestral, not occultic. So if you're a king and you engage in occultic practices, you have signed your death warrant. Let me sound very blunt. You have signed your death warrant. When the gods will remember you, they won't sit you. So the better we return back to the drawing board and embrace our own culture and traditional practices, the earlier the better for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The last one before we call it a day out of this program this hour. One of the great things that is happening in Africa, and that's one of our pride. Virginity is the pride of African African women, and is the pride of any parent that is giving the hand of her daughter to, their daughter to anyone as a virgin. But this becomes something that is no longer in our culture. It becomes a taboo now because being virgin is something that is very rare. So, what can we do to restore this dignity back?
Let me share a historic knowledge with you. In Africa, when you pay, we don't know what is white wedding. White wedding is not Africa. You are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. You have no spirituality to Africa. That is the British wedding. It is not our own. When once you do your traditional marriage, you have fulfilled all righteousness. So if you like, you go and disturb yourself that you are doing white wedding. You are just wasting money for nothing. Nothing. Practically has no spiritual value for your marriage, has no blessing for your marriage. The blessing of your marriage is purely traditional. So if you are wasting money, wasting time, you are on your own. It has nothing to do with Africa. It is a foreign culture, and it has no bearing here. It has no influence, it has no bearing here. So let us begin to think and change our mindset. Do your traditional marriage to any flair, glamour, whatever fantasy you want to bring to your destiny, it is carried. Tradition. But let me warn, any union in Africa that is being blessed with a foreign drink, a wine or whatever, is cost. Let me be very real. It's cost. The only drink our ancestors accept is a hot drink or a palm wine. Anything other than that, and they pray for you with wine, is cost. It is cost. And that marriage needs to be revisited. We're having so much divorces, breakages, this, that. You enter today, you come out tomorrow. You love today, you hate tomorrow, and you think it's ordinary. Go and trace it. Most of those marriages, they used wine, British, Italian, what are they? Irish wine. Foreign gods, foreign drinks will bring strange spirits, strange gods that will destroy your home. And that is the truth. If you like to take it, so if you have, they use wine to do your marriage, go and look for palm wine and go back to your parents to bless you. Right now, look for palm wine or hot. Return back to your father to bless you again. Because you're under a curse. Now, back to your question. Back in the days, when a maiden is married, number one thing the family does is to buy a white bed sheet. They will spread the bed sheet and allow their son to spend it with his new wife. In the morning, the mother will come to inspect the bed sheet, whether there are blood stains, to show that virginity was broken. And when there are no blood stains, that maiden will return back to her parents' house. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So the fear of this act made a lot of young ladies to keep their virginity. Knowing that if you don't, you will not get the right man. And those days, maidens that lost their virginity carelessly end up marrying old men or widowers. So if you want to marry the love of your life, you must wait until you are married. So culture is the people's way of life. It helps to mold them character-wise. It helps to prepare them into great future leaders, great parents, great role models. That is culture. That's why when somebody is misbehaving, you say this person is not cultured. It's a very simple ideology of life. So when the white man came and raped our girls, where will you see the virgins again? And after they left, the so-called religious bodies came and started raping them too, in the name of prayer. We know how many young ladies they have disvirgined in the name of prayer. You say you are doing deliverance for somebody, and you are looking for a way to enter the person's honey pot. Eh? What has honey pot got to do with deliverance? Some pastors are using finger to put in a woman's private part. You say you are doing deliverance. What kind of a word are we in? What kind of madness? What are we talking about? What stupidity? What madness? What are we saying? No respect, no regard, nothing. You see somebody's daughter? In fact, may God not free any man that indulges himself wicked. They are cursed, and I sit on this reference to curse them today. That any man that takes advantage of any maiden, unknowingly, may the gods of Africa continue to strike them with poverty, with sickness. They will die or painful death. Any man that has taken advantage of any maiden, they are cursed and they will remain cursed. Enough is enough. You cannot rob people and you cannot to pride. Are you stupid? Are you mad? Don't you have senses? Were you not created? Were you not conceived and born by a woman? What nonsense! What temerity! What effrontery! And you will sit and you pride because you're a pastor, nothing will happen. You are cursed. You are cursed and you will remain cursed. Any African son that refuses to abide by the tradition of his people and begins to misbehave because you feel you have been civilized, civilization will lead you to your grave. It is time to realize whom you are and where you are coming from and do the right thing. Enough is enough.
Thank you, His Excellency. I really appreciate that. So the issue now is that let's just sit right, do the right thing. Let's make sure that we focus on the right thing, not on the wrong thing. The world, the civilization is bringing a lot of confusion, but we don't need to be confused in the midst of this. African youth, we need to do the right thing. Don't let us plant a tree of evil. Rather, let us do the right thing. Let's respect our maidens. Let's respect our women. Virginity is the glory of any woman. And let's respect that. And the same thing applicable to men as well. So, please, let's, from out of this program today, learn this, that is one of the great things that we can do in Africa for our women to keep their virginity. And it's a blessing as well to your home, to our generation. And it will reduce the problem of baby mama baby, all this problem here and there, people killing themselves because of the children and stuff like that. It will reduce. These are the things come with the civilization, and it's causing a lot of problem in our generation. It's causing a lot of problem in our homes. Let's try. Do the right thing at the right time. So before we call it a day, we have a few minutes to round up this section. We, in England, the Queen, the King, which they are using now, is still in charge, even though they are practicing democracy. But the King, which is the King Williams now, after the death of the Queen, is still in charge. How come Africa, we are practicing democracy, but the kind of democracy that we are practicing is not bringing growth to our community? It's bringing downfall to our home. Do you see democracy as best way of government in Africa?
I said it from the onset. You want me to be like you? Fine, I agree. But you don't give me the true roadmap that will make me be like you. The British references the royal house as the most powerful. They came to Africa. They made democracy the most powerful. Is that sincerity of purpose? It's a question everybody needs to answer because we know the answer. The same democracy you brought to Africa, we accepted. We are going to practice it. But you now want democracy to be ahead of royalty. But in your own land, royalty is ahead of democracy. It is quite laughable. It is funny. And our people are celebrating. What are you celebrating? Your ignorance, your stupidity, your foolishness. Somebody calls you a zombie and he says, yes, I'm a zombie, and you are celebrating. Are you not stupid? Are you not foolish? If you want us to practice democracy the way it is done in your country, so restore the power of the kings. Let them be supervisors. Let them have a say in what a leader does. Let them correct. Let them monitor. Let them advise as fathers. That is it. Nobody is challenging anybody's authority. If you are not doing right, they will call you to the palace to say, please, this policy, our people are complaining. Change it. Look into it. It is not right. Leadership, they say in democracy, is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Now in all, you see, people. So where is the people now? There I'm asking you. Where are the people in the democracy? The people don't have a say anymore. When you speak, they will arrest you. They will jail you. The people don't express their needs anymore. When you talk, they say you are anti-government. And the people no longer choose who their leader is. It is the power that be that chooses who lead. So the three compartments of people in democracy is no longer functional. Government of the people, for the people and by the people. That means the people no longer choose their leader. Gone. For the people, the government doesn't do the biddings of the people. For the welfare of the people, they do the biddings of the colonial masters. That is true. Of the people. Where is the people there? We're no longer of the government. Every politician thinks about the next election. The next election, they don't think about the people. When is the next election? And they begin to gather all the money. A contract is worth 1 billion, and you say it's 5 billion, so they keep 4 billion for election. Meanwhile, if it is in a true democratic setting, before a government spends a kobo, listen clearly, the parliament will have to scrutinize the procurement, purchasing and price evaluation of the parliament. Send out a team that will scrutinize your bill before they assent to it. There must be that act of parliament in every public expenditure. Today now, where are the parliaments? The leaders, the governor chooses who is the speaker of the house. And who is the chief justice. Yeah. So even in election, no longer election, they prepare a list and submit. So they will go to the grassroots and pick all their loyalists. Those that when they come, they will say, yes, sir. Come, where are you? Come and sign this thing. You come. Thank you, sir. Is that democracy? How many government can be truly said is democratic? Let us be plain. So, we are just being cajoled into believing what we are. Meanwhile, we are not. We are not civilized. We are not yet colonized. The earlier we realize it, the better for us. We are just living an artificial life. We are enjoying the euphoria of a glory of a people. You want to dress like a white man. You want to speak like now accent. Nobody talks African accent. It's British accent, American accent. In fact, let me reserve my comment. It's very annoying. Because I don't speak British accent, I'm not learned. Because I don't speak American accent, I'm not learned. What? May God forgive us. If you know hear the one where I talk, if you know hear the one where I talk, go and bury your head in the river. The way I speak, if you don't hear it, go and bury your head in the river. And schools should stop this nonsense of making our kids, if they don't speak British accent, they don't speak American accent. How far have you gone as a proprietress, as an owner of school, to teach your students the African language? How have you forced them as you're forcing them to speak British? Are we British by nationality? Is Nigeria a British country? Is here not West Africa? Enough of this nonsense.
And you will never see England that wants to be like Africa. You will never see England that wants to be Yoruba or Igbo or
nobody.
So one of the saddest things, just by the way, is that I was in Lagos and I was speaking to a friend which is into construction yesterday. We are having a meeting. And we realize now that a lot of people are building the same house they are building in England. Like the roof will be so tall with a long roof. And my friend was like, it's a stupid idea because we lost everything. We are not having our own thing. We just copy. In England, where they are building such house, those roofs, there is 2-bedroom house inside that roof.
Yeah.
There is 2-bedroom apartment inside that roof. When it's cold, that is where they stay. And that is why they have such roof. But in Africa, in Nigeria, where it's very hot, a lot of people are building such a funny house with a design of such a roof, wasting money for nothing. Just want to be who they are not. When are we going to come out of this copy ideology? When are we going to be real?
The truth remains that, like what cultures defines the people's way of life. Your way of life is influenced by your environment, your climate, and everything. So if the way we dress in Africa, if you dress like that in Europe, cold will kill you. Now, if you go and carry all the winter wear over there and come here, heat will kill you. So why don't you adapt to your weather and your natural environment? Building everything, the kind of house we build in Africa is different from the things you get in Europe. Because for you, I am a structural engineer. For you to structure a building, you must consider the weather factor and the climatic conditions of that environment before you structure a building. So you wouldn't bring a structure that is in England and you come and erect it here because you want that design. That is stupidity.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. I really appreciate it. There are so much to talk about. There are so much to put in the spotlight, but time will not permit us. I really appreciate you coming out to be part of this conversation. And thanks for the time that you dedicated for us to liberate the mind of the African youth. This is the second edition, and we are still going strong. We are still continue. His Excellency, thank you for the pleasure of your time, and I really appreciate you. By next week, by the grace of God, it's getting better and better and better. I really appreciate it. And I want to apologize for the last week broadcast. That a few 20 minutes of it was actually not part of the conversation. We are still going to rectify that and bring the real one. Now, all this program, we are still going to break them into pieces and still putting them back on the spotlight. They are raw now. We are making sure that they are raw. We are keeping them. A time is coming that we are going to break them down into few minutes that will be easy for people, especially in Africa, to watch. Because a lot of people doesn't have money to buy data. That's another thing in Africa. They make data so expensive in Africa so that they will not be able to watch the program that will benefit their life. So thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to wrap up by praying for the Africa, by praying for the use of Africa and for the economy of Africa in your own language.
Thank you. There's something I want to share with Africans. When it comes to prayer, I would advise you always pray in your mother tongue. When you pray in English, the request doesn't get answered easily. The first people that carries your prayer to God, the creator of the universe, are your ancestors. Now, when you pray in a foreign language they don't understand, they will not even know what they are asking. They'll be confused. So, in spirituality, if you want to pray, pray in your native tongue. Don't form accent. Speaking in tongue. Which tongue? Whose tongue is that? An American tongue or a Brazilian tongue? Or an Indian tongue? You want to confuse the devil. Which of the devil? The one you created yourself? Or the one somebody created and sent to you? Let us stop being very naive. So you want to pray? Pray in your native dialect. The ones your ancestors can profess solution to, they will do it immediately. The ones that will move to God, they will move. Prayer has segments of answer. There are segments. As I am as a king, there are things my wife can take. So you bring a complaint to the palace, the queen can attend to it without disturbing me. There are ones my aides can resolve. There are ones the elders in the community can resolve. There are ones the chiefs in council can resolve. And that is how prayer is. There are prayers that God doesn't need to move and it will be taken care of because there are forces. God has made forces. He said, I've given power to the land. Even to devil, the one you call devil. God has not taken power from the devil. The angel they said that fell from heaven. Where did he fall from? Where did the angel fall from?
From heaven.
Have God taken the power from him? So if God could not take power from a disobedient angel, let's be very practical here. I love being a very practical person because I'm an ancestral person. If God could not take power from a disobedient servant, is it you he made in his image that you take power from?
No. No way.
So, you have the power to request anything from God and he will do it. You don't need a pastor to pray for you. You don't need a prophet to pray for you. If you're having challenges, spiritual challenges, you consult spiritually gifted people that will tell you and guide you on what to do. But when it comes to prayers, he says, seek, ye shall find. Knock, the door will be open. So if you don't seek, what will you find? If you don't knock, which door will open? So let us be practical. Let us stop being foolish. Ask God, who created you, who created your ancestors. Ask him whatever you want him to do for you, and be sincere about it. One, what stops prayer from working is you that is hearing me, that is seeing me and watching me now. You are the one stopping the prayers not to work because you are not praying rightly. You are planning how to go and kill somebody and you are praying. Do you think God is stupid? God will not answer you. God will not answer you. You plan evil for somebody and you are praying for God to bless you. You think God is a hypocrite? He will not bless you. He said, to that measure you give unto your brother, so shall I give unto you. So if you want good thing to come to you, do good to others. That is it. If you want good thing to come to you, be happy about others' progress. Don't be envious. Don't work against somebody's progress. Don't stand in somebody's way. Live and let's live. The lane to life is having so many ways. Run in your own lane and leave other people's lane. Don't intrude. Don't obstruct. Don't concur. Don't hate someone because somebody is hating them. And you form alliance and begin to hate somebody. Your prayers will not be answered. Let me just be very frank with you here. So when you do the right thing and ask God for anything, God will bless you. He will answer your prayers. Your ancestors will form a thick cloud around you. And they will protect you. They will fight for you. And they will bless you. So let's stop being demonically, that is what we call demonic religion. To be demonically religious. It is sickness. And it is saddening. So having said this, mana si Chineke gozi onye ọbụla nụrụ olu m taa. Ha ọbụla bụ uche obi gị, ha ọbụla bụ ihe na-akpagbu gị, ha ọbụla bụ nsogbu ịnwa na ndụ. Chineke ekekere igwe ekekere ụwa. Ọdụm ezumezu. Aka dị mma na-eme mma. Ibu anyị ndanda, ọ ga-agọzi gị. Ọ ga-eme gị adị mma bụrụ onye na-eme mma. Maka asị ihe Chi na-eji agọzi nwata wa ọgọzi ya agọzi ndị ọzọ. Ihe Chi na-eji achara nwata ụzọ wa ọchara ya achara ndị ọzọ. Maka na o kwuru that we are gods in different ways. Every human is a god in different ways. And we usurp our authority from Almighty, the Creator. The Creator. Mana chi agajere unu. Achọchị ọkọ nwada nwoke wee mụnwụ so onye ga-achị unu ga-atụrụ ala. Ihe na-echi kemba ga-echi unu. Ke na-achara m ụzọ ga-achara unu. Ọ ga-adịrị unu mma na ike, ọ ga-adịrị unu n'ori, ọ ga-adịrị unu n'afọ, ọ ga-adịrị unu na nkwọ. Mkpụrụ ụbọchị anọ na mkpụrụ ụbọchị asatọ n'ala, ọ ga-adịrị unu na mma. Eke ga-ekere unu ihe ọjọọ. Oge ga-eri gburu unu mkpa. Afọ ga-afọgbu ihe niile na-achụ ndụ unu na-achọ ịfọgbu unu. Nkwọ ga-akpọpụtara n'akụ, kpọpụtara n'ọganihu, ọmụmụ nwoke, ọmụmụ nwanyị, asị ndụ mmiri ndụ azụ. Ya gajie. Unu cherekwa n'oge a na wiki na-abịa abịa ka anyị nọkọkwa ma kwuo ihe gbasara mba Afrịka. I bless you today by the powers of God Almighty, the Creator of the whole universe. And I pray that it shall be well with you. To anywhere and any nooks and crannies of this world you are hearing my voice, may the blessings that is divine locate you wherever you are. Whatever that has eluded you due to your ancestral stubbornness, not to identify with your root, today I connect you back to your root. May the blessings of your ancestry locate you today. That where others go and fail, you will go back and succeed. Where you were rejected before, you be celebrated. Always know whom you are. Be proud of whom you are. Be proud of what you have. And be proud of where God created you. Thank you once more. And tune in with us. Be our great ambassador as we progress on these revelational episodes of the African ancestry, our roots, our identity, our originality. I remain His Royal Excellency, King Professor Ambassador Ejinonyeche Promise Obina, the Supreme Commander of African Ancestral Kings and Royalty, Odumezumezu, Ezikembawan, Onishalola Kumbamishi. Royal blessings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, His Excellency. I really appreciate it. I will see you next week by the grace of God. We are going to be having it raw and real and direct from here to everyone listening to us in Africa, in diaspora, all over the world. We say thank you for the pleasure of your time. See you next week by the grace of God, and it's going to be a great time, a lovely time, a beautiful time with you again. Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. God bless you, sir. See you again. Ire lójú owó rí ire nílé wa ire lọ́nà wa gbogbo àdúrà tá a ti gbà kélédùà kó fàṣẹ sí kélédùà kó fàṣẹ sí kélédùà kó fàṣẹ sí ire owó ire ọ̀sán ire àárọ̀ ire alẹ́ kó jẹ́ tẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa ojú òní ti wá o àní rí gbé sọnù bí ó ṣe bí ọmọ ayé òní rí wa mú àní púpọ̀ táyọ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè àní ṣìṣe o lágbára Èdùmàrè ire báyìí náà ni kó máa jẹ́ títí wa ire náà ni kó máa wọlé wa ó di wọ̀ bí ọjọ́ wọ̀ gbogbo kọta sí náà kárọ̀ kúrọ̀ mọ́. Thank you very much, sir. What I said is that whatever we have declared on this program, blessings that have been released, and so shall it be. Thank you, sir, and I appreciate you. God bless everyone. Enjoy all of us, and see you again next week by the grace of God. Goodbye, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye from here.
Many girls wanna take your money.